Hello, everybody. It's Josh. I'm here again tonight. Don't know how many nights I'll be able to do a live stream before Christmas because my girls are off, but I'd like to talk to you all as much as I can to find out what's going on in your life. Tonight's just going to be an open discussion. Obviously, I mainly focus on trying to help those who are struggling in life, who are suffering in life, who are on a truth quest or seeking purpose. I know that this time of year is hard for some who are dealing with grief or dealing with horrible circumstances in life. Maybe you're spending the first Christmas without a loved one. I completely understand how that can bring you even lower, because when you're young, you spend the holidays with your loved ones, and as you get older, sometimes we find ourselves alone. Sometimes we find ourselves, our families have just shrunk, and the old guard, our parents, our grandparents, everybody has passed away, and we're stuck here to pick up the pieces to try to be the new pillar of the family. And it's not something that we're ready for. We are just trembling with fear sometimes. I have had that feeling so many times. I think that's what led to a lot of my suffering. Those who know my story know I suffered almost every way imaginable for about 13 years. And one of the biggest issues I had, besides my disability, the nerve pain that I was in, was the fact that I wasn't ready to be the man of the family. I wasn't ready to take my father's place as the leader of the family and my grandfather's place. I felt like I was clueless, and I was already in my 30s at the time. So I just sunk lower and lower. It's just one more thing to add on to that purposelessness. And that is what we go through when we are seeking the truth. We feel like we might have a calling, something's beckoning us, something's guiding us, but we don't know how to follow it. We don't know how to find what it is we are supposed to do with our lives. And so we just rely on chasing little ways to feel better about ourselves, chasing, alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, you name it. Just little dopamine hits to satisfy our suffering and to ease our suffering and to make us feel better. Oh, I already have a bunch of people here. Hello, Tommy. Oh, don't feel. I'm not saying this to be a sad story, Tommy. I have found the greatest purpose in my life, and my life has been transformed, and that's why I do this channel. I do this channel so I can help people who are going through similar situations, or any kind of situation you're struggling with in life. I'm here to help if I can. I don't have all the answers for sure, but I do believe that our purpose is the most important thing in our life. So for all of you here, what motivates you? What is it that drives you in life? Do you even know? Have you even thought about it? Because it's something I never used to think about at all. So I'm not judging you if you don't have an answer. But we all have something that basically gets us out of bed in the morning, keeps us going in the darkest times, what we have faith in. Let's see here. Toby, hello. Angry stuff, Jim. No, I actually haven't worked out in a gym in 15 years now. Um, well, I guess if you don't count the pool, I go to the pool sometimes and do like foam weights, but I have a bad back, so I can't do much. The surgeon told me no more working out in the gym except for in the pool, and kind of I go for long walks and I carry a big it's a real heavy walking stick, and I carry that with me everywhere I go and walk for usually a few hours a day. Keeps me strong. And then of course I have my winter coat on too, so that's why I'm always prepared. Um, Angela, hello. How are you tonight? God bless you, Angela. It's great to see you. Uh, NBS. Let's see. I have a random question, but how do I do my homework every time I try to end up on my phone? Please give me advice on this. Oh, okay. So you're trying to do your homework and you end up just going through random things on your phone. Like, is that what you're asking? Like, because that I think that's a problem for a lot of us. In fact, I have that problem too. A lot of times, I'm trying to get to something important, and I'll be drawn to something on my phone and just going through just pointless stuff sometimes. And I think that our phones are addictive, and we need to try to limit the time we're on there. So, if you feel like you're spending too much time on your phone, which most Americans are, unfortunately, including myself, I really do think that you need to try everything you can. It's like stopping a drug or drinking. It is an addiction. It is something that we don't even realize is taking away valuable time in your life. So think of how many other important things you could be doing in your life when you're just scrolling through social media or looking up random facts on your phone, or playing a game or whatever you do, because we all have something, and it is the ultimate brainwashing machine for sure. I hope that's what you're talking about, but if not, please clarify. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Chiropractor, turn your phone off and put your mind to your goals and try to visualize what you want. Absolutely, chiropractor. Absolutely. Are you an actual chiropractor? My mom worked for a chiropractor for years, so I went there all the time. Tanner Beast Guy, my life is hard too. Life is not supposed to be easy. Believe me, if your life was easy, you would have some kind of existential crisis where you find no purpose at all. When we go through hard times in life, we start to it's like we're being forged, like a sword or a tool or whatever, being forged in a fire. And we have to have that time in the fire to be forged, or else we would just be, just a couple times, and we're just like a dull blade, and we'll just shatter. You have to constantly be thrown into the fire, and then I've watched it a few times. They beat down the swords with this big hammer, and then they throw it back in the fire and keep doing it and keep doing it until it is the perfect blade. And that is what our life is. We are thrown into the fire repeatedly, or we are just content and happy. And a lot of people who are born of rich families, or they're born, really beautiful or charismatic, they find that they just skate through life, and then they realize they missed so many lessons. That last night we were talking about, me and one of my other brothers on here, we're talking about growing up as fat kids, and what we learned from that. And you learn so much from it. Or growing up an ugly kid. I talked about Steve Buscemi, the actor, how he had to find his charisma, he had to find his humor, and he had to use that to propel him and stand out, since he was just an awkward, kind of ugly looking guy, just a strange looking guy. I'm going to say he's ugly. That beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? But you learn so much from your struggles and your suffering. And, before I get into my story again, I tell it every night. And I know the ones that are always here hear it over and over. But I didn't realize how much my pain was teaching me, how much my suffering was guiding me to my purpose. And I had to go through every single bit of the suffering to get to the point in my life where I was completely transformed, and where I have not suffered for, it's been over 2 years now, not once, despite the pain. There's always going to be pain. You can't avoid pain. If you spend your life trying to avoid pain, then you're just going to be stuck in a rut for so long, until you realize, hey, I need to get out of this rut, and it's going to be painful. And it might be even more painful because you put it off for so long. Jessica Andrew, hello. My day was wonderful. How was your day? Angela, what drives me? The thought of eternity, not only mine, but the precious souls around me. Yes, that is a great, and I think that it's great to have that kind of drive. What is the meaning of all of this? Constantly questioning, why are we here? What is my purpose? What is the reason that God created me? What is the reason God created everyone? It is something that I know, obviously, we're not going to be able to answer all the deep questions in life that people have been searching for since the beginning of mankind, mankind. But pursuing those questions is what led to the greatest breakthroughs in spirituality and in science and philosophy. City by the Bay, hey brother, how have you been? Life been kicking your ass. I'm going to try not to focus on finances, but hard not to. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, as I said, that was something that is one of the hardest life lessons there is. It really is. We think, going through, obviously, deaths of our parents or grandparents and people close to us and the ones we love are the hardest. But so people kind of push aside, something like losing a large amount of money. That is the type of thing that, well, first of all, go back to the Great Depression, and there was Black Monday when the stock market just crashed. I mean, people were going nuts. It was just skyrocketing and skyrocketing. People thought it was going to go up forever. They were just going to keep getting rich. And then Black Monday came. I think it was the 29 or 30, early 30s, 1930s. The stock market crashed, and people were jumping off of buildings. They were so wrecked. And that is the danger of putting your purpose into money. They were sitting there thinking, we have this life, this lavish lifestyle that we built from just trading stocks, and now it is all gone in an instant. But that should be something, I promise everyone here, your brokenness is what leads to your salvation. Your brokenness is how God works in your life. There is not one person that I know who was not broken at least close to completely. Obviously, you're broken completely. It's not a pretty picture. But if you are not broken like this, you're content with your life. You are going to not be driven the way that someone who has been broken down and humbled. We have to be humbled. We think we're so great at something. We think, oh, it's so easy to make this money. I felt that way during the first crypto rush, the first crypto boom. I threw a couple bucks into Doge before it was like even half a half a cent or something, and then of course it just went up, skyrocketed to 8 cents. So I was making money hand over fist, and then I thought it would just keep going up forever, and bam, it just kept going down and kept going down, and I realized I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I learned so many lessons from that. But if we don't learn them, we're going to keep learning them over and over, and it's going to get harder and harder. And it might eventually get to the point where it just overcomes us. Tanner, how old am I? I'm 44, almost 45. Dimitar, hello. Good to see you again. NBS, yeah. Jessica, he looks 48. I probably look like I'm in my 60s. I feel like I'm in my 60s at least. I feel like I'm probably in my 70s. My body is broken down. I've lived many, many lifetimes in my 44 years. And I'm talking many lifetimes. And that was before even the age of 30, because 30 was the age I was disabled in my, I was, I was unable to do my job anymore. And the doctor damaged the nerve in my back when he was doing the first of my 4 back surgeries. And I thought my life was over. I didn't at first. At first, I was in denial for a good bit. I was like, well, I'll figure out something. I always do. Because if I put my mind to something, I always succeed, even though it looks dire. I got that because just so many things in my young adult life and teenage years where I lost over 100 pounds twice in my life. Once it was like close to 150. I was a horrible football player when I first started, and I didn't have any interest in it. But by my senior year, I was all state. I was not a great writer. I loved writing though, and finally got published. No, not published, but published in college and stuff. And just what I put my mind to, I was able to succeed most times if I focused on it. It's like that New Age spirituality thing of manifesting reality. Have you ever heard of that? I watched a lot of videos and read a lot about that when I first was saved by God. And I swear to you, I was like, this is, there's obviously something to it, because if you put your laser focus on something, if that becomes the driving force in your life, you will achieve just about whatever goal you're aiming at. But what happens is it's always like the fables or mythology where you learn that lesson, where it's like, I'm going to focus on getting this money. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to manifest that reality. And then you actually do. You manifest this wealth because you're laser focused on it. Everything else in your life pushed aside. I'm getting rich, and then everything else will fall into place, right? I see it all the time on, what is it, the woke, or not woke, the bros on YouTube. They're like, you just focused on that, you get rich, and then everything in the world will fall into place. The women will come, and you'll be happy all the time. You'll be driving a Lamborghini. It's like, man, you have no idea what you are doing, because if you focus on something, you will get it. And then, as always, the devil is in the details. So you're signing a deal with the devil. You are worshiping money is what you're doing. Or whatever you're focused on, you're worshiping that. And then you will never have enough. It will always be your motivating goal. You will probably lose a good bit of it at some point. And even if you do get ultra rich, then what happens is you have people in your life. Maybe you find a man or a woman that, really smoking hot or handsome person, and you're like, oh yeah, but you never will know who loves you for your money or for you. Are they with you for your money? Or are they with you because they like you? And most likely, it's going to be nobody's with you for you because you pushed everything else aside. So that's all you are is your money now. That's your God. Jessica, quit social media. Yes. If you are getting hooked on social media, absolutely. There's not usually anything good that comes from it, for sure. NBS, I need to stop procrastinating. For sure, procrastinating is a big problem of mine, too. Just ask my wife. I'm late for everything. I have an excuse now because I'm disabled. I'm like, look, man, I'm in pain all the time. Give me a break. But it doesn't matter. My wife is like, no, you're just lazy. uh, Jessica, do your things. Tanner, I'm trying to stop smoking from the world. Um, I'm Nicotine's one thing that I haven't been able to give up either. I have been on nicotine, and God has purified me of so many things, so many things. And I swear to you, nicotine is just one thing that I have not had motivation to give up because it kind of, you get that brain stimulation. It's kind of like drinking coffee, which I used to drink coffee a lot, but now I can't drink coffee because it tears my stomach up. So it's like that's my last little vice there. That not my last one, but the worst one for sure. Oh, Joshua, thank you. I don't look a day over 20. Yeah, absolutely. I quit my male modeling career to come and do this YouTube page for sure. Jessica, exercise, sleep well, get some sunlight, and we will not procrastinate. Yes, Jessica. And I swear to you, it was probably around 2021, and I was saved in late 2022. But in 2021, the beginning of the year, I made it a New Year's resolution to go outside no matter what the weather was, at least once a day. So I decided I'm just going to at least take my dogs for a walk. And then I would try to get out into the woods and into nature, just exercising or to the pool or something as much as I possibly could. And that was what I realized that God was drawing me out to nature then. I was getting that calling at the time and I was being drawn out into nature. And that's when, those who know, I was saved in nature. And I feel God talks to me closest in nature. I can feel him talking to me. From the very first day, it was that profound sign. I guess I have to say it. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone who comes here. So, yeah, my story that I went through the 13 years of suffering, as I said, and then I hit rock bottom when both of my parents had really bad health issues because they were the ones who kind of were my go-to in life, my support system in life. And my dad had a heart attack and was recovering from that. And then my mother had a stroke and was partially paralyzed. And so my dad was like, well, I'm going to, take care of her at home. We can't afford a nursing home. And my sister had to uproot her life and move there. And she's bipolar. So it didn't, things I could see weren't going to go well. And I hit rock bottom and I went out into the woods and I prayed to God for the first time genuinely in my adult life. I'd always talk to God, didn't think he would listen to me. I didn't think he would intervene in my life. But I genuinely prayed. I was like, God, I do not want to live my life anymore. If you can show me some kind of sign or guidance to get out of the hell I was trapped in, I will surrender my life to you. And then 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes later, I was walking along the lake shore near the woods I was at, and I hear something running through the woods towards me. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be a big dog or something coming out. That's just going to be icing on the cake for this whole situation. And I look over and it's a white-tailed doe, and she stops at the edge of the lake shore and bows her head, lets me come over and start petting her. And then she works her way down alongside of me and walks along right alongside of me, like attached to my hip almost the whole time for about an hour and a half. And from that day, I swear to you, I have not suffered once. I surrendered my life to God. As I told him, if you show me a way out of this, and he did, he transformed my life completely. There were things I never learned, wisdom I never learned that I suddenly had. It was an actual miracle in my life. And if you look at my the picture of my profile on my YouTube page, it's me standing next to the deer when she first came out of the woods. Oh, Jessica. Okay, let's try to catch up here. I'm sorry about this. Jessica, as a gynecological nurse, I got purpose to deliver humans into this creepy world. That is a great purpose. Being a nurse, a doctor, caring for people, healing people, being with them in their time of need and times of great joy. Being someone who, like Moses is, I forget, I think her name might have been Sarah. No. Yeah, Moses' midwife, the one who delivered Moses. She told Moses that someone who is close to people as they either die or when they are born learn so much about life. And I think you do. It gets you closer to God in a way. Vijaya, praise the Lord. Good morning, brother. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's 12:30 a.m. here, so it's finally morning. How are you, Vijaya? Great to see you. Joshua, hi, Vijaya. Let's see. Let's see here. Tanner, I'm trying to save my mom from cancer. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. It's the worst. That is why people go through, these crises in life, these midlife crises, or whenever it happens. It happens at different times in people's lives when they start to lose a lot of their loved ones, or they start getting really sick, and then we start facing our own mortality. And so we're trying to be the rock, the foundation that everyone can lean on when we just aren't ready for it half the time. I mean, some people are born ready for it, but people like me, man, I was not ready at all. And I was already so low in my life and so beat down in my life that I just didn't know how to do anything. I was failing as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as everything. NBS, I'm going to turn off my phone and try to do my homework. God bless you. I hope you get that homework done. Let's see. Oh, Joshua, you're doing your judge's paper while listening to him. Is that? What do you mean? Didn't you say you were studying? Yeah. So you're doing like the judges. Is that what you're studying? I was just reading the story of Samson again earlier. Great. There's so many great parts of the Bible that we don't even really, we think we know the story, like Jonah and Samson and Hosea. It's all, we don't realize how deep these stories are, because we're just, we're taught them in Sunday school sometimes, and we're like, oh yeah, Samson, the strong one, the hair, and and Jonah was swallowed by a whale, and we don't really know because they're not really kids' stories, so they can't really tell us. You know, Samson, he just had a eye for women, and he he had his wife. His wife had just died, and then he was trying to find a uh, what can I say on YouTube? Woman of the evening, I guess, and he found one in a Philistine woman who were the ones who were occupying Israel because Israel kept going through. It was basically a cycle. They would have faith in the Lord, and then the Lord would send them a someone called a judge to basically save them from their enemies. And then as soon as they were saved, they would be unfaithful again. And then they would cry out for the Lord, please save us. And then as soon as they were saved, they were unfaithful again. It was a never-ending cycle. And that is what we do in our lives. We cry out to the Lord in our hard times, and then He saves us, and then we're like, okay, well, now I'm good now, so I'm just going to go back to what I was doing and go back to my life of sin and my life of chasing my desires and my dreams, and not worry about you until the next time I need you, because we figure He'll always be there when we need us, so we just deal with Him when we need Him. Vijaya, please give me blue jacket, brother. Blue jacket. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Yes, absolutely. The blue wrench. Absolutely. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I don't even think about that sometimes. There you go. Bestow you the blue wrench of power. Dimitar, if you're healthy and you're mentally okay, then everything will be fine. Even if you alone, you can have a new start with hard work, of course. You absolutely can. But that will not bring you that deeper meaning and purpose in life. And that is what is always missing. When I lost, well, especially the last time, I was 15 the first time, but when I was about 20 years old, when I lost about 150 pounds and I got into like perfect shape. I mean, I was just like jacked. I was so jacked, like mentally and physically, and I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. Like everything, like I could just do anything I wanted to, I wouldn't even have to put my mind to it very long. I could just accomplish anything because I was just I felt so good. You know, the dopamine was going in my head, the natural stuff, the serotonin or whatever. And man, I realized I still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I still didn't realize what my purpose was in life. I was losing hope fast. And then, of course, I got a job. My friend offered me a job, or helped me get a job, and I did that for 8 years until I was disabled. But I really went to a different kind of hopelessness when I got the job because I didn't really like the job. I was away from home all the time. It was like 80-hour days, or 80-hour weeks sometimes, 80 to 100 hours, and you always go through some sort of struggle until you find God in your life, until you get serious about finding God in your life. And that often requires brokenness. It does. Us to be humbled, to be brought low. Christopher, hello, brother. My day has been great. Night's going great. Just trying to wrangle these two girls. They're jacked up about Christmas time, and I'm trying to keep up with them because they're already off of school. They let them out early. How you doing, brother? Joshua, Andrew Tate. Yeah, Andrew Tate was one of the guys I was thinking about earlier for sure. Uh, Rob G, hey Bob, how you doing? If you're talking to me, I'm not Bob, I'm Josh, but I'm doing great. Or if you're talking to someone else on here. Christopher, I'm a big procrastinator. Also, why do today what you can do next month, year? I'm I'm doing better though slowly. Yeah. I have put off things for so long. I've needed to clean out my shed in my backyard for, man, it's literally been years now. And I'm like, every time I'm like, I'll wait till it cools down and it's not too cold but not too hot, so I can get the pressure washer in there and just spray everything down, and it just never happens. Never the right time. I always have something better to do. Oh, you're a Ravens fan. Oh, ODF. Well, today's not a good day to be a Steelers fan. After that butt kicking, for sure. Dimitar, usually there is a tactic about nicotine, but you need to have and spirit for it. So it's simple, just if. Yeah, I know how to. I've quit so many things. It's the motivation to actually do it. And I've got so many things in life that God is getting straight for me, that is getting organized for me, and that's just not on the priority list for me. I know it's because of my addiction, but I feel like that's my little like pick me up, and it's that addiction's got me for sure. But I'm going to eventually get around to it, just like the procrastinator I am. Eventually, I'll get around to quitting. Joshua, see you later. God bless and good luck in your studies. I hope you get it done tonight. Dimitar, don't smoke. Just take a deep breath. Yeah. I know. Believe me, I know. I've quit several times in my life, and I've quit. I've quit opiates. I've quit. Not because I was, you know, hooked on opiates. I was hooked on them. I guess dependent on them. There's a difference between dependency and addiction. I think I've told people about how 85% of the people in Vietnam War, 85% of Americans in the Vietnam War, were doing heroin regularly, and there was virtually no problem with real bad addiction when they came back. Obviously there was a few people who were still having problems with the addiction, but they came back to life and they came straight into a job and work and purpose. Probably the ones who were disabled were the ones who were having the biggest trouble with it. Good night, Dimitar. Good to see you again. Gary Johnson, what color is that wall behind you? I went to paint my turtle shell that color. It's like a burgundy, I think. Um, you're gonna paint your turtle shell burgundy. Tanner Beast Guy, I'm joining as a Powell dancer to make a thousand to save my mom. That's great. That's great. Um, a Powell dancer. I've never heard of a Powell dancer. Oh, or is that like something else? I'm not sure what that is. Um, Christopher, I was terrible at everything and just basically lost basically. Bad husband, fiance, yet both. I was a bad friend, father, and just overall felt worthless until Jesus saved me from the pits of hell on earth. Amen, brother. Amen. And hearing these stories never gets old to me. It really doesn't. Hearing the stories of complete redemption, and but then it becomes okay, can you keep devoting your life to him? And reading reading the Bible, reading the Samson story, it's like, man, I don't there are very few people in the Bible even who devoted their life to God and didn't struggle, didn't go through basically just unfaithfulness to God. We think of King David and how great he was, and then of course he ended up, basically laying with a woman without her permission, which the word I can't say on YouTube, and killing her husband when he wouldn't come back from war so he could lay with her, and so he could blame the baby that was in her belly on him instead of King David, of himself. So it's, man, it is one broken person after another, and people think it's just some blessed life. It's like you're blessed by God, and everything's perfect and everything's great. Think about how you hear people say they have a blessed life, and because they have all kinds of money, or they have a loving family that's all healthy, and things are going great. Maybe they have something go wrong every now and then, but they're just doing great. That's what you think of usually when you think of like a blessed life, blessed by God. But no, it is more like you have that Holy Spirit in you, which guides you, but you're going through the depths of hell sometimes. You really are. Be the Iron Ministries. Good to see you, brother. It's great to see you again. I know I'm on here late, but it was great seeing you again. Hopefully I can talk to you again soon, brother. I was on. If you guys didn't catch it, it's a channel called Your Brother in Christ, and he had me on there yesterday because he had 20 underrated Christian channels that he was promoting, and I was honored to be chosen as one of them. Be the Iron Ministries. I think I don't know if he's still on here, but he used to be called Unapologetic, I believe. And I remember I subscribed to him when he was unapologetic. I think. But great channel too. I recommend everybody check that one out. Thank you so much, my dear brother, Vijaya. Absolutely, and Vijaya, I've got a list of a couple channels, and if anybody has a channel or a business or something that you want promoted, please send me a message in any of my videos. Just leave a comment in any of my videos, and I will. Obviously, I got to make sure it's not not something that's not appropriate for a Christian channel to be referring. But I will do my best to, drive some traffic to your channel. Nyrox, if you write a book about failure and it doesn't sell, is it called a success? That's a great question. I think it would. And you know what? That's really. Would you learn more if it just became an instant hit and was selling all this, and then you're getting rich from it? Which it's hard to get rich from being an author, I know. But I think you would learn a lot more from it being a failure. You would learn so much from it. That's funny though. I like that. Uh, that's true, Dimitar. If you write a book, it is a success. And most people can't write a full book. Uh, uh, Christopher, I was a cocky a-hole personally, and again, was lost with chasing girls, chasing money, and chasing for the ultimate high. And God cured me, brought me out of my coma, woke me up, and gave me his love. And that is a common theme too. And think about even people that we, consider themselves, oh, I'm such a good person. I realize a lot of atheists insist they are good people, and they say if you need a God to be a good person, then there's something wrong with you, because I'm so much better than you. I don't need no God to be a good person. I guarantee you they are led astray so many times in life, and they are searching for this purpose. And this is why they kind of get in their own little communities. They adopt practices from religion, from Christianity, and they use it for themselves to make their own little atheistic religion. And it's obviously we all need that purpose. I'm not saying it's something bad for them. I mean, obviously, if they're an atheist, I wish they would try to get serious about seeking God, but many of them say they have, and they just haven't. Basically, what it boils down to is they feel like God didn't meet their demands because God didn't show up in their life when they demanded they show up. You show up now, or I don't believe in you. And God doesn't respond to demands from anybody. And then they start seeking out all these Bible verses that, they look at how evil God was. God was a mass, people that take some people's lives. God, there's so many things I can't say on YouTube, and I just don't even know what they all are. But they start seeking to deconvert people, deconstruct people from their faith. And that is their goal in life. They get satisfaction from it. And what I realized is kind of how I was, Christopher, I don't know if you were like this too. When I was partying all the time and me and my friends were always, drinking and doing whatever, not usually hard drugs, but every now and then, one of us would try to stop and be like, I'm gonna clean myself up. I'm gonna get my act together and go find a good job or go back. There was this one of our friends who always was like, I'm gonna start going back to church and quit partying all the time. And we're always just mocking him, and we were trying to draw him back and just shaming him into coming back and partying with us. And like, you'll be back in like 2 weeks anyway, so you might as well just give in now. And I mean, that is what we do when we are stuck in our own personal hell. And it didn't feel like hell to me. It felt like heaven to me because I was being deceived. And when you're stuck in your hell, whether you know it or not, you want someone there suffering with you. You do. You don't want to be burning alone, because that is the worst, to be alone when you are burning. Vijaya, Be the Iron Ministries, praise the Lord. Amen. Yeah, he's a great channel. I recommend everybody check him out. Vijaya's channel. I recommend everybody check that out. I will be posting a list soon of everyone who wants me to. Vijaya, and I had another brother reach out. Can't remember the name of it though, because I have the memory of a goldfish. I apologize about that, but I have it written down, or saved in my computer at least. Christopher, I'm doing okay, man. Thanks for okay. Rob G, sorry, I don't know. I thought your name was Bob. Many apologies, Josh. Hey, it's fine, Rob. I kind of do look like a Bob, don't I? Or what would you think my name would be if it wasn't? There's somebody who calls me Queso all the time. This is like a I kind of do look like him. I looked him up. My daughter showed me him for the first time today. I kind of do look like him. He's a little bit fatter than me, but man, I've been that fat before for sure. This is my resting weight right here. At least I got a little bit of muscle still left on me, I swear Peeps, I swear we share so much in common. That is great, Peeps. Yeah, and let's see here. Tired of trading, got killed in the market, then back injury, now on disability, trying to quit smoking, and a Steelers fan. Wow. We do, man. You got to reach out, Peeps. Reach out for sure. Yeah. Isn't it crazy how like sometimes our lives are just mirrored? And there's so many of us stuck in these like the spiral in life. Peeps, are you still like, beat down from all this? I mean, how are you doing with it all, brother? I know after that Steelers loss today, it's not easy, but I mean, just with the actual stuff that matters. Christopher, I'm a big smoker and nicotine attack too, brother. I'm praying and having trouble, but eventually we both will get there, and his strength and our ability to cure our procrastination. I agree, and honestly, I'm ashamed to say it, but I haven't been praying about quitting smoking because I know I don't want to. So I'm like, and I'm not even smoking. I'm vaping now because I used to chew I started out with cigars, then I went to cigarettes, and then I went to dipping for a long time, like probably 10, 15 years at least, 10 to 15 years. And then I've now been vaping for, man, it's going on like 8 or 9 years now. I think I think it was 2015. I could be wrong about that date, but I did it. Each time I switched, I'm like, this will help me quit easier, or that's at least what I told my wife. So I was like, this will help me quit dipping when I start vaping, and then of course, I can get lower and lower on the nicotine, but there's a certain point where I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna keep doing this for a while. I got no desire to quit. It's sad, but I'm being honest. Just no desire, and I know it's coming. God is going to just slap me in the face with something. I'm gonna get some horrible like pneumonia or something. But I used to had trouble breathing when I smoked. That's why I started dipping. And then I don't have any problem breathing with the vaping, and I don't have any problem with my gums and everything. So it's like, uh, it gets deceiving. It's such a evil mistress. Aiden, I am fighting with alcoholism, which leads me to sexual immorality, which leads to severe depression. Yes, brother, yes. And so many of my friends, so many of my family, I have an uncle who's literally drinking himself to death. Literally. I mean, and he acts like he's concerned when he goes to the doctor and they're like, okay, we're doing open heart surgery. But they're like, oh, we're going to do that open heart surgery 2 months from now. And so he goes home and starts drinking. And he drinks Wild Turkey 151, or is it 101? Is it 151? And he drinks all day and all night. It is sad. But listen to me. I have battled with the alcohol and the drugs. I was never addicted to alcohol just because I was a heavy drinker. I It hurt my body so bad that it wasn't like my drug of choice, I guess. Smoking pot was definitely, I still have to do that for pain sometimes, which I am down to like, I take the tiniest little nibble of like an edible or something I get up in where one of the states it's legal in, and that is enough to just take the edge off a little bit off the muscle pain. It doesn't do anything for the nerve pain, but the muscle pain, it definitely calms down. But I do not like to get stoned anymore. I do not like to have that feeling that because I'll get anxiety attacks sometimes if I do a little too much. And then of course the opiates were the worst because they didn't hurt my body and I did feel so good. And those things I sometimes need when I'm coming off of surgery or something. And man, they are a nightmare to get off of, a nightmare. And I've heard things like barbiturates and stuff are even worse. Dimitar, I write a good night to the. Okay. I'm sorry, Dimitar. I thought you were talking to me. Well, I'm glad you're staying here, brother. I thought I was just being so interesting that you just decided to stay. You're like, I can't sleep. He's too good. I got to stay and listen to what he has to say. Poofy haired fancy boy. How we looking? Looking good, poofy haired. Looking good, brother. As far as I can see, your picture is that big on my phone screen. Aiden, oh yeah, and internet addiction. I just need to let go of everything and own and think I need. I own and think I need. Please just pray for the Lord Jesus to swiftly take away my broken, sinful ways. Absolutely, brother. But listen, do what I did. You you were obviously suffering from this stuff. I don't know how old you are, so I don't know like how many more things have been piled onto you and piled onto you because if you're to the point where you're just throwing your hands up like, "Hey, this stuff has just owned me for so long. I was just using it to feel better in my life, but now it has become what I live for, what I wake up for. Just I can't live without it." If you have gotten to that point where even your relationships, because with alcoholism or drug addiction, it can easily happen, your relationships are just suffer from this. They just, man, it's even if you're not addicted to the drugs and alcohol and you're just suffering, you start to hate yourself and hate your own life, and then all your relationships are affected by or corrupted by that darkness. And I noticed it most with the most important relationship was the one with my children, and I was just not being a good father to them because I just didn't know how to love myself. I thought I was loving them in a good way for a long time, but then I realized, hey, I'm a horrible father. My wife was also having a lot of struggles because she had to deal with the same thing I did, minus the back pain and leg pain. And, she had both of her parents pass away, and one of them took her father took his own life. And man, it's like I describe it as being in, if you've ever gone swimming in the ocean on a really choppy day and you go under a wave and you just come up and another one just smacks you in the face and it's just relentless and you just cannot breathe because it just won't let you. That is what it's like. And eventually you get so tired from it, you just throw your hands up and like, I'm done. Let the waves take me. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't have any struggle left in me. And that is when you are ripe for redemption. Go out into nature. I don't care what the weather's like. I don't care. Go out. Don't have any distractions with you. Turn off your phone. Don't bring your pets or your family or your friends. Go out there by yourself and just surrender to God. Tell him the same thing I told him. Tell him, I will surrender my life to you if you just show me a way out of all this. But you have to be genuine. If you are still clinging to something in your life, something that is not God, whatever it is, it will not be enough. You need to be sincere. Hey, I will give this up if you just save me, if you just show me a way out of this. To show me you're here and working in my life, and he will show you. It might take a little while. It might be right away. Like for me, it was less than 10 minutes, but he will show you. He is watching you. He is waiting for you. He is beckoning to you. And that is when you die before you die and you are born again. And it is transformational. Sorry, my nose sound, it's getting clogged, so I know I sound a little stuffy. Christopher, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, man, but have you watched The Chosen? I was curious about it and your opinion of it. I loved that show for the first season and kind of into the second season, and the third season was awful. I literally, I knew it wasn't like following close biblically and everything, but I thought it was good. They were kind of fleshing out the different disciples and the, Nicodemus and Mary and all them. And the third season they just took it too far, man. They just really ruined it all for me. And I think it's good that it's drawing more people to Christ, but I don't know. I mean, I understand that it's kind of changing a lot of the Bible and all that, and I'm kind of conflicted about it, honestly. What do you think about it, Christopher? Um, China Walk, y'all lost Bob. F the Steelers, queso. Oh, yes, we did. We lost badly. It was not pretty, and we might have. Hopefully, we didn't lose T.J. Watt for a long period of time, but we need him back for the playoffs, or we're one and done again, yet again. Rob Gratz, great to see you, brother. Good evening to you, or whatever time it is there. It's 1 a.m. here. It just turned 1 a.m. Christopher, it is, man. It's amazing how mirrored our lives are for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so many I talk to, it's like we are going, we're walking side by side on this narrow path, and it is, we were brought together for a reason. We are. God brings people into our lives and takes people out of our lives all the time. And they are exactly who we need. It might be just for somebody just to talk to just for a couple minutes. It might be somebody who's going to be your friend the rest of your life. We never know, but I am so grateful of how he works in our lives. And once you start recognizing it, then you start becoming fluent in his language and how he speaks to you. Uh, Christopher, that's awesome, man. I'm still stuck on cigs for now, but it's it's good you switched up to vaping. Yeah, I mean, I know people, you know, there's, I swear to you, people will always, judge the other. I remember when I was dipping still, and I went to this wedding, and of course, like, when I was drinking, I had to have a chew in all the time. And I remember putting a chew in, and this one girl, she looks over at me and she's like, those things will give you lip cancer, right? And then she literally, with a straight face, and then she took this long drag off the cigarette. Like, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It was just so funny. I for some reason I'll always remember that girl telling me that. Girl, a young woman, I guess. It wasn't a girl. China Walk, hell yeah, vape life, dip life, my country trans sister. Oh, and an Eagles fan too. So, peeps, I tried the patch with a vape and it works. Yeah, yeah, for sure. You could definitely switch up how you get the nicotine. I know, but it's the patch for me. I found I need something like I'll chew gum a lot. I'm chewing gum right now. I have to chew it while I'm talking because my mouth will get all dry. But yeah, it's everybody's got a way that's best for them. Some people it's just cold turkey, just get me off of this and just suffer through it. Some people just go down and down and down. I do like that about the vape where you can I get the tanks where you can fill them, and um I go lower and lower on the nicotine, and I've been doing that for a while here, but I'm to a point where I'm like pretty low, so I'm like I'm like I want to keep a little bit of zip in there. Rob, I just quit smoking cigarettes the other day. I love the taste and feeling, but our body is the temple, and God is of God, and destroying it is wrong. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Yes, and you know it's obvious. It's bad for. We all know it's bad for us. We knew that when we started, but we didn't care because we were young and probably were like, "I'm going to live forever anyway," or really when I was going through my suffering, I was like, kill me faster, and just chewing and vaping or whatever. Um, it is just something that I think like, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't had the desire to do it. I need to, I do need to start praying about it, but I've had so many things that came first that I wanted to change in my life that I wanted to work on. And that was just, it's like, well, I really like this and I'm going to put it on, obviously I need to go on a better diet. I've been slowly doing that, and, just cutting down my portions is the biggest thing, but so many things that the eating and the diet and the vaping are it'll be the diet first and the vaping, I think. Because when I go on a diet, I'm going to be probably vaping 10 times as much as I do even now, which is, yeah, at least for a little while. Negan, are there apostles today? I believe there are people. Somebody asked me if there are prophets today, and I do believe that we do. We do have prophets, but it's not in the same way they had them in like the Old Testament or something, or even the New Testament with John the Baptist and John from the apostle. We have people who see signs from God. I see when God talks to me, it is usually just guiding me in life. And I think most people, that's the way that God talks to them. I rarely see something like a vision. I think I've had two visions in my life since I've been saved in the last 2 years. And I've had a few dreams that definitely were, I still wasn't completely sure about some of the dreams, but I do believe that there are apostles, yes, and I do believe that, I'm trying to think of like, I was trying to think of this the other day, and I really have trouble finding somebody who was really, who showed they were completely transformed by God. And I was trying to think of a famous person, and the two people I could think of were Bob Ross, the painter, and Mr. Rogers. And I really do think that they were, just in my childhood, they were really, they showed how transformed they were by God. Because Bob Ross was apparently like a military guy, he was high ranking in the military too, in the Air Force, I think, but still. And Mr. Rogers, I don't know much about his past, but just the way that they both helped people find that peace and deal with their anger and deal with their emotions. And I think that's the type of apostles we have today. We still, the Catholic Church is still venerating saints and stuff like that, but I haven't kept close watch of who they venerated lately. Who's the last person they made as a saint? Do you guys know? Is there any Catholics in here tonight? Or some of the modern day saints like that kind of just recently died? Christopher, I'm an alcoholic as well, bad, and I still drink about 2 days a week. Used to be 24/7, and Christ is guiding me to quit. I pray about it every day. I know Christ will give me the strength to quit. Amen, brother. Yeah, that's one that I had to, as I said, I didn't, when I was disabled, I wasn't drinking much anymore at all. Like I only will drink on very rare occasions now. But the drug use was, again, I had justification for the drug use then. So I was like, okay, well, this is going to make me feel better, and I'm in horrible pain all the time, so I need to escape it. But then it just enslaves you. So it's like, if you can use it as directed and as needed, and not to escape your life, and just for the pain, then it doesn't become a problem as much as when you are using it to just substitute for God, basically. But yeah, the drinking is something that will absolutely. And I know more people who have just had their lives shattered from alcoholism, and as soon as if they quit, if they'll go through one bad struggle in their life, and they're right back at it. And I know that's the struggle of an addict. It really is, and I get it. I'm the same way. If I go through something bad in life, it's it's going to be a struggle for me to turn to God and not to doing a drug or something, or even if it's something that's not addictive like weed or something. Just turning to that for comfort is where we start to go astray for sure. Peeps, you guys can quit. It takes some work. Yeah, it does take work for sure. Rob, opiates are amazing. It's terrible. The pharmaceutical companies destroyed our access to natural medicine. Yep, we should all have medicine growing in our yards. Poppy with opium should be in my garden. I I tend to agree on that. I don't see why, especially like old people who are going through all kinds of pain, are not allowed to take opiates. They had it. My dad used to tell me about this book. I think it was called The Good Earth. It was about China, and I don't know what time period, but it was a while ago. And basically, all the old people, they just stayed in the opium den all the time and just smoked opium all the time, and then they, because they were always in pain. So it's like, I get it. There's nothing wrong with, if you are in massive pain. Again, sometimes I need it. Doing what it takes to ease that pain, and we can turn to God, but there are things that God gives us. He gives us things naturally. Like, obviously, there are good and bad things that He gives us to use as tools. Everything has its purpose, everything has its use. If you use a hammer to build, then it is a good thing. If you use it to smash over somebody's head, then you are using it wrong. It's the same with everything, with drugs, with even alcohol. Everything in moderation, if you can have it in moderation, or to use for your benefit. Like psilocybin mushrooms. I did a lot of psychedelics. That was my really problem for a long time. It's not really like it's addictive because it's something you can't do all the time, but I did it way too much. But psilocybin mushrooms and different kinds of psychedelics, they have a purpose. Psilocybin mushrooms are amazing for like people who have those cluster headaches. I watched some documentary about that, and it completely saved this person's life because they were, wanting to end their life because of these cluster headaches. They just would not go away, and things like that. And there's a purpose for everything, every single thing. Peeps, you need a plan. Yeah, I do need a plan, but I kind of have one because I'm working through the different things. I have them in an order. I put that last intentionally, Uh, but everybody does need a plan for that kind of stuff. And throwing yourself at Christ's feet absolutely is. I know it sounds like, oh, yeah, you say that, but it's not really going to. No, it will help everything in your life. Everything. If you can get to a point where you surrender yourself to God and you let Jesus take the wheel, like they say. You let the Holy Spirit lead you around. You let your love lead you around. You will go and you will do exactly what God wants you to do. But you're always going to go astray. That's what you have to catch yourself every time you do. Hopefully you catch yourself before you go too far, but it's not like a straight path. It's not going to be like some easy path. The easy path is the one to hell. The narrow, treacherous path is the one that leads to salvation and to heaven. but it is the only way to find purpose and meaning in life, which if you find that, everything else begins to take care of itself for sure. Rob G, yeah, I've got a 25-year addiction to heroin and crack. It's so hard. I pray every day. I hate being disobedient to God. I know it, Rob, and that's obviously I don't know, having done it for that long. I know you've been to things like AA or NA or places like that, and they tell you to have a higher purpose. But what I think that they used to focus on Jesus Christ, but they're not allowed to, I guess, anymore because they're trying to be open to everyone and all faiths and religions. But Jesus is the only one. He is the one who can save you. The Hindu gods, Allah, even the Father, any kind of other God. I know the Father is, our Father too, but Jesus is the only way to the Father. The reason Jesus is the one true God and the only one that can help you through these things is because he is the creator of the universe, and he came to earth as a humble, suffering servant. He limited his power. He gave himself no power of God when he came to earth. The only power he had was through the Father, through praying, just like we can get. He showed us how to have the same power as him. He told the apostles, in one of the last times he spoke to them, you all will do great things, some even greater than I did. And that is, to me, it seems unimaginable to do greater things than Christ did. And you look at maybe like the Apostle Paul and things like that, and obviously we don't think of him as greater than Christ, but the actions he did to heal people, to start the church, to spread the gospel, to all these things, we can be Christ-like. We'll never be Christ, but we can be more Christ-like. And the more we are, the more our life begins to take shape, the more meaning and purpose we do have. Drop out, Bobby. Within 10 minutes. Oh yeah, man, I'm not that far behind. Within 10 minutes, I was saying within 10 minutes. That's the time it took from the time I prayed to God. I hope you're still watching, but because I know I'm far behind. The time I prayed to God, saying I would surrender my life to him, and within 10 minutes, he sent me that sign. A doe came running out of the woods and walked alongside of me for over an hour. And that was the first of many, many signs that I gotten from God. That's just the way that he talks to me. He may talk to you in ways that seem subtle to someone you're telling. If you tell your story to someone, they might think like, well, that's not really. I don't see. He kind of like talks. You hear thought. You have thoughts pop in your head that aren't yours, and I've heard so many different ways he talks to people, but they are all as profound to that person. It does not matter if it's some big display. He had to come and show me some profound thing the day that I was saved, just so I would get it through my stubborn head that he was actually coming to save me in my life. I think that I needed that. I'm the type of person who needs to see, because I've been fooled so many times thinking, oh yeah, I do believe in God. I think I felt his presence, but then he just disappeared. And I don't understand why he just disappeared. He was waiting until the time when I surrendered my life to him. He came to visit me through my teen years 3 times. And, into my last one when I was 20 years old, and my first when I was about 12. And it was incredible, but then he just left without guiding me at all. And so I was lost. I was like, what do I do now? and I was left chasing him. Um, Christopher, oh wow, I finished the first season, then I stopped for a while, but honestly, I prayed to Jesus about it, and what I got back from him was this feeling of sleight of hand and deception. Something is off, yeah, and I think it's produced by, I think it's produced by a Mormon or something, or not produced, but at least like the Mormons have something to do with it, and something like that. But I don't know. I'm glad that it it has drawn people to Christ that wouldn't have been drawn to him to begin with. That's a good thing. But for me, yeah, they changed way too much. Just like I watched that movie Mary on Netflix just yesterday. I watched it over 2 nights with my wife, and a beautiful movie. I did like it, but they change so much and they add so much of just, trying to be like the chosen, I think. And I don't know. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I don't want to be like one of those Christians, like they didn't follow the Bible completely, so it's not good. That's not what I'm saying. It's like maybe they're kind of missing some of the main points here, like trying to make Mary out as like the savior and not Jesus, or it's they yeah, I got the same thing, brother, for sure. Peeps, whatever works for you, agreed. Yeah, yeah, and it's basically me making excuses as far as like the addiction thing. For sure, I already know that. I've already come to terms with it for sure. It's me making excuses. I put that off till last. And it's just because I don't have a desire to quit right now, but it will come. I hope so, and I hope it's not too bad when God finally teaches me that lesson. Like, look, you should have done this from the beginning. But Negan, have you encountered a demon? Not in like the exorcism type way, but yes, I feel like I have definitely encountered at least one time that I know of demonic forces working in my life, like spiritual attacks. But it wasn't like a demon was possessing someone and it just, you had to be exorcised out of them or something. I encountered demonic forces attacking me when okay, so both of my parents and then my uncle all had to go into surgery within a week of each other. And then you know, I'm not, I live just above the poverty line. I live it takes me 2 days to drive up to their house. I have kids that are in school, and my wife, she needs help taking them back and forth to school. I, my vehicles are so old, you know, we're like they're not going to make it up there another time, and so I had to rent a car, and all this stuff just started happening. But when I'm trying to figure all that out, my parents and then my sister, I told you earlier, was bipolar. They were they lost it. They were just it was the straw that broke the camel's back with all this happening at once, because they tried to cancel my mom's surgery, and then all of a sudden they got her surgery back on the books. And it was like they kept changing everything and throwing everything all at once, within each other, throwing it at each other. And my mom was fighting going to the nursing home and all this stuff. And my parents, or my sister called and was telling me about this stuff. And she was like, "You need to go talk to him." And then she takes the phone over there, and my dad's like, "Who is this?" And he's screaming. My sister starts screaming at him. My mom starts screaming at both of them. And then earlier that day, like, when I was telling my wife about all this and telling her I had to figure out a way to get up to Pennsylvania, she's screaming at me, and people were screaming like nonstop, and I couldn't get any of them to stop. So I had to finally just go out to the place I was saved and literally throw myself at Christ's feet. And that was the only
thing that stopped it. The only thing. I went out and you know, I went to this little creek that was right by where I was saved, and I started splashing water on my face and just praying, and within moments, all of that stress, all of that anxiety and fear and grief, it just vanished. And then I was finally refreshed and purified again and ready to deal with everything. And I was like, I got everything figured out just within like an hour after that all happened. I was like, I'm going to rent a vehicle. I'm going to come up there. I don't have much money, but I'll just put it on my credit card. I'll do this and that. And everything started to fall into place. And it was for sure the worst spiritual attack I've ever been through. Just the way people were yelling, they were demonically possessed, at least for a little while. Christopher, another problem, I vape and smoke cigarettes, so the battle will be long, but it will be won through guidance and strength. Yes. Yeah, I know it, brother. Definitely try to lead on, maybe the vape or something, and then wean off from that, because you can wean off the vape because you can go down on the thing. I mean, again, if you have the motivation to, mine is still on the back burner. I'm gonna keep it real. Hello, hey, I'm gonna keep it real. How are you doing, Rob? Personal. Oh, okay. Personally, I would quit the vape first. Often people who get into a good eating habit then destroy it when they quit smoking or vaping. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. But I am, I'm so much, I know how to, my entire life, I know exactly how to do the diet and everything. Like, I know the exact diet that works for me. I know how to go down and everything. And, um, it's because I used to be a personal trainer. I got really into it after I lost all that weight, and it's just basically out of sheer laziness now. I devote all my time to going out and talking to God, and then like getting my exercise in, and that's at least makes me feel better during the day. It kind of getting moving makes my back pain ease up a little bit, and my wife, she does all the cooking, and we always have junk food laying around, but I don't really eat bad food. It's just large portions of it. And I'm, yeah, it's something I know how to do at least. Quitting smoking, I've done it twice, or quitting nicotine, I've done it twice. So I don't know. I'm not going to bore you guys with my excuses anymore for sure. Um, Peeps, I hear you on that. However, I was diagnosed with gum cancer from smoking. Don't wait long. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry to hear that, Peeps. Uh, the cancer. I I notice for some reason, and this doesn't make any sense to me. I have been the things like my health problems in life. I've done so many stupid things, all the alcohol and drugs and all that. The only health problems I've had in life have been from things that have been what I considered healthy for me. Like I, worked out and ran all the time and was a good athlete for a long time. And then my back gave out because of it. That was a big problem. The doctor told me it was also because of I put a wallet in my back pocket, and when I drove a lot, and that was like curving my spine, and just but then I have to be out and get sunlight as much as I can, or I just feel bad. It just helps me. Maybe I have some of that. What is that disease where you get like depressed when you don't get enough sunlight, or in the winter time and stuff. But I have to be out there and do it. But then what happened? I had to have skin cancer cut off of me a few years ago, It's always something that I think is like helping me in life, and then I realize, oh no, yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm paying for, but I'm not paying for the partying and stuff yet. It's really weird. Rob, saints have to have a miracle attributed to them. Oh yeah, that's yeah. They Do you know the last one, Rob, or like one of the most recent ones that was alive at least? Peeps, what are your thoughts on NDE videos on YouTube? The near death experiences, people who cross over then return. I've watched thousands of them, and I've watched ones that have been ones that haven't and have been verified. Um, the people from UVA and Liberty and all these different colleges, the UVA one, he studied NDEs for over 20 years now. I think it's close to 30 years now. And his videos and his testimony of how he got into it, how he left his work as a psychologist to start studying these things, it brought me to Christ. So I started watching it, and I was like, because when I was first saved, it took me a year to come back to Christ. God took me through all the different faiths and religions and spiritualities that I could possibly look at and get to. I thought he was guiding me there to start my own religion or to find truth somewhere else. I thought I knew all about Christianity. I did not like Christians that I met, most of them, because they were hypocritical and I was tainted because of what society told me. The TV and everything tell you how stupid Christians are, how anti-intellectual, and they always have characters on the shows and these dumb hillbillies or just complete morons that are just stupid people. I bought into that a lot, and the Gnostic lies and all the atheist lies, and I did not want to be a Christian. But he led me back through watching NDE testimonies. I realized that was the closest of what happened in my life. I died before I died, and I was born again. These people physically died and they were born again. I died in a spiritual way and I was born again. And that started leading me to, well, born again, that's Christianity. Maybe I'll start looking into Christianity. Maybe I don't know all I thought I knew about it. And man, I was so ignorant of what I did not know about it. It led me straight to the feet, straight to the loving arms of Jesus Christ. And it was like being saved all over again. It was absolutely incredible. And I realized that I was lied to. I didn't understand how good of a case there is for Jesus Christ, how historically, he's the most studied figure in human history. He changed the world more than anyone in human history. Most religions and spiritualities love Jesus Christ. They just hate Christians. Some of them actually even worship him. So yeah, NDEs really were a big part of what led me to Christ, for sure. Christopher, amen, brother. All things are possible through Jesus. Rob, most addicts don't have a drug problem. We have a deep and personal problem with ourselves. Yes, we numb ourselves to avoid the pain. We absolutely do. It's like, what is that quote about? We're trying to fill that God-sized void in us. It absolutely is true. We lack the purpose and meaning, and we fill it with drugs when we can't find anything else to bring us purpose and meaning, because that at least helps us not care that we don't have purpose and meaning. Stickles Pickles. I have a weed problem because I formed a bad habit over the past year before I found Christ. I haven't been able to go a single day without smoking it. Now I'm able to hold off more, but hell, I get it. we all are redeemed in some kind of bad situation. And I swear to you, I need to post this video or something, because there's a pastor called Vadi Bakum, and he was talking about Daniel, the prophet Daniel, who was basically, Daniel was taken prisoner while the Babylonians were occupying Israel, because they had invaded Israel after King Solomon. It just all went to hell, and it was like a bunch of hyenas coming in taking a piece of Israel. And so when the Babylonians took over, they sent for, some nice educated kids to come over, some Israelites to come over and learn in their schools and be brought up in the Babylonian culture and everything. And of course, Daniel was one of them, and he ended up getting on the king's good side, because the king had a dream, and he was like, I need someone to interpret this dream. And so he brought in his wizards and all his people that were supposed to be magical and everything, and they were like, well, tell us what the dream was, and we'll tell you what it means. And he's like, no, I need somebody to tell me what my dream was, so I know they're not just making something up. Tell me what my dream was, and then tell me what it means. And that's exactly what Daniel did. They found Daniel, that he had done this before, so they brought him in. He said, if you just let me go out and pray, I will be able to tell you what your dream was, and what it means. But he was talking about Daniel and coming up in this Babylonian culture who just was completely anti-God. They did not worship their God, and they did not like the Jews at all. And so, he was talking about redemption, Vadi Bakum was, when he was giving this sermon. And he was saying, if you are in slavery when you are redeemed, and you are not okay with being in slavery, then you don't understand what your redemption is. If you're in a bad marriage when you are redeemed, and you're not okay with it, then you don't understand what your redemption is. And I would add on addiction. If you are an addict when you are redeemed, and you're not okay with it, and you can't handle that situation, then you don't understand what your redemption is about. You have to dig deeper. It is about getting to the root of your problem and finding a life where Christ and the Holy Spirit are leading you everywhere, within everything. There is nothing that you're going to get right when you lean on your own understandings. You have to lean on God for everything. And that means surrender, total surrender to Him. And that is when you see your life truly transformed. Rob, exactly, all of nature's drugs are medicine, and if used correctly, have benefits. Yeah, man, I'm really far behind again, aren't I? You surrender at the foot of the cross. Yep, that's right, peeps. I'm going. I truly wish all of you the best. Thank you for showing up, peeps. Yeah, get in touch. I know you're probably already gone, but if you're still listening, please get in touch with me. Leave a comment on any of the videos, and I'll send you my info. Or any of you, please, if you have something personal you're struggling with, please leave a comment on any of my videos. It might take a couple days now because I've been so busy, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if it's something personal you don't want to talk about online, then I will send you my email address, and we'll talk about it privately. Keoli, do you believe in the afterlife? Absolutely. I believe in heaven and hell. I believe they're not anything like I thought they were either. They are a choice. If we choose to follow God or to not worship God, and if we choose not to follow Him and worship Him, then we are separated from God. That is the definition of hell, is separation from God. And God is everything good. That is why it is It is described as the outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That is all it's described as in the Bible. Jake, yes, I think people that do drugs hate themselves so much that they need to be someone else. It's true, Jake, but it's also a seduction. I know so many people who have had disability to where it is agonizing and they need a drug to get through it. I still need something to get through it. The pain is so bad, especially at certain times. I need something. I use kratom and cannabis mostly now, but you have to have an arsenal with some things. Some people are in such horrible pain, and then the doctors will prescribe them, even for like something like wisdom teeth getting taken out. They'll prescribe them opiates, and then they'll just take them away, and then they'll be hooked on how good they felt, and then they'll go out and be like, start finding a place to buy them on the street, or they'll realize that it's too expensive to buy the pills, so they just go buy a heroin because that's the same opiate, and then they'll overdose on fentanyl or something. I mean, it is a vicious cycle. And we hate ourselves in a way, but there are people who are drawn to it just without even their understanding, because they're like, okay, well, I needed this for my pain, but now it's an addiction. Which, again, there's a difference between addiction and dependency, but addiction is when you're using it to fill that void in your life, and dependency is when you are physically hooked on it, but you're using it for what you need it for. Rob Stickles, try coming up with a plan to wean off the MJ. Often I find that actually writing a plan solidifies for people in their mind that they actually want to quit. Too often we say we want to quit. Yeah, absolutely. Just like with me, like I'm like, oh, I want to quit, and then like I'm like, well, I don't really want to quit vaping yet. So I don't even say I do. I'm like, yep, it's just something I have not got around to yet, that I have not found the motivation for, because I I don't have the motivation yet. I hope I do sometime soon. And I know if I start getting everything else in my life in order, and that's going to be down to that, and then I will focus on it. But it's for sure going to be a tough one. Dimitar, for all these drugs, you need to focus in the nature. You need to start feeling your life, making traveling, like exploring new places, one small option. Yeah, you know what? That's actually a great point. When you have a lot of free time, or when you have like a trigger, like when like my uncle, he'll drink every time he's in his home. He's a single man, and when he's home alone, he drinks. So when he's staying at my parents' house or something, he doesn't take a drop at all. For me, like if I'm like in my recliner, which I have to be, and I have to decompress because that's the only place that my back doesn't feel like horrible. That's when I vape, and then when I'm driving, I vape. So it's like those are my two triggers. So I'll have to figure out something like chewing on a toothpick or chewing gum all the time, or whatever, nicotine gum. But for weed, it's the feeling of being stoned that you're addicted to, that you're because it's not physically addictive, it's mentally addictive, which can be just as bad for sure. Let's see, Rob. But mentally, when the time comes, we literally say, "No, I don't want to give up this yet." Yeah, yeah, exactly. Stickles pickles, Jake. It's also more of the desire of something more. Everything, especially weed, becomes just like Ecclesiastes calls it evil. Absolutely, Stickle. Yeah, King Solomon, he was the wisest man to ever live, and he still went astray from God, and he still gave into his lust. We all give into our desire. We're gonna do it. Um, uh, let's see here. One of the blue wrenches is on going at it. I've formed many plans, but have fallen short. But I'm getting stronger. Yes, and you get stronger by the more you surrender, for sure. I surrender my life, but I still hold on to the things like nicotine and I would say cannabis too, but I don't like I know that I need at least a small amount of that for the pain, and I know I need things like kratom, which I don't see as a problem at all. That's not addictive at all. I've stopped that many times. And it keeps me from having to do things like opiates, which again, it's all if you do it and you don't get addicted and it is helping something like pain, or I guess if you have some sort of mental, let's say you have some sort of chemical imbalance that causes horrible anxiety attacks where it's just crippling you, then you take something like, what is it, the Klonopin or something, or something like that, a barbiturate, I guess, then that is something that you need, or trying to find something. But if it is not an actual chemical reaction in your brain causing that anxiety, that will devour you. And it's probably going to be a problem anyway. You probably should find something that's not as addictive as a barbiturate. But man, if that's what you need, that's what you need. And God will show you. Just don't be deceived, because drugs will deceive you, for sure. Elton from Brazil, what did NASA say about the drones? NASA's not saying anything. Nobody's saying anything about them except for what the hell? What the hell is this? Why haven't we shut them down? It is madness. Our government is so pathetic. So completely pathetic. I don't even know. Again, we let the Chinese balloons fly over us. Now we're letting these drones. The Democrats and the Republicans are both like, why don't you shoot these down? What is going on here? And people are like, well, you can't shoot them down over someplace, or what if it has something toxic in it? And it's like, what do you mean? What if if it has something toxic in it? Then it should definitely be shot down over the ocean or something. I guess it's bad, but what are you going to shoot it? It's going to drop that toxic thing on the people. I mean, come on, go and shoot the mothership down. Follow the drones to wherever they're coming from and go take care of it. I'm pretty sure, Christopher, pretty sure the Mormons funded the Chosen. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure they did too. My experience with demons, I've seen black shadow human-like figures several times, and some of those times there were multiple shadow figures. I've experienced as well with demons, also yelling, screaming, just random odd events with strangers. I've seen quite a few people with fully blacked out eyes. Yeah, it's some people, there are some crazy demon stories for sure. Oh yeah. I used to be a personal trainer. Yeah, I used to be in really, really good shape, Christopher. Really good shape. I know all about nutrition and everything. It's just actually doing it. Because again, when you're depressed, like I was for 13 years, you don't do anything. You fall into a lifestyle that is just like, I wanted my life to be over, so why would I start eating healthier? Why would I stop any drug use or nicotine? And I'm like, come on, you can't come fast enough. The end. So I just kept doing more and more. So that was what I was doing. I was killing myself slowly. Rob, often the things WW of, oh, often the things that we say we will give up last are for God are the very things he wants us to get rid of first. Yeah, I know it, brother. I know, for sure. I think the first thing he wanted me to give up, though, which was, the thing that was corrupting my life the most, was the adult content, because I didn't even think that was a problem before, and that was the first thing to go for sure. And then the harder drugs like the opiates and stuff, which I have to have at times, he weaned me down to like just needing them like every now and then, and then and there were a lot of things in my life that just went to hell for sure, Rob. But you're right. The things that we cling to, those are the things that devour us. Uh, Shout out. I'm not going to shout that one out. I don't. I don't know about that one. Jake, did you have melanoma skin cancer? No, it was not melanoma skin cancer. No, it was one of the not the bad one. I had it right. Let's see if I can see it. Okay, it was right here on my arm. I'll try to get it right up. You can't even barely see it anymore. It's been a couple years now since they got it cut off. I forget what the type they called it, but they just had to cut it. They had to like freeze it off or something. Uh, Thankfully, and I have to go get checked every now and then. Now, skin cancer is big in my family, though, as well as colon cancer and prostate cancer. Unfortunately, Christopher, I also struggle with the THC as well. That's another thing I'm struggling with as well. And just like everything, I'm praying for guidance and strength from Christ, and I know He will get me there when I don't need it anymore. Yeah, or want it. Yeah, that was, I was completely baked or taking edibles all day, every day. And again, I justified it by like, hey, it's not an opiate, and I have to have something for the pain. I cannot go without some kind of pain relief because I will be like not even moving. Like almost to the point I'm at now. it's it's like bone on bone right now in my back because I'm like 5 years past where I should have had another back surgery. I just keep putting it off. But the the way I was doing it, I wasn't doing it for just the pain. I was doing it to escape my life and to numb me up and just to make me. And then even when I was first saved, I was like, well, this is not something I really want to stop because I feel like I feel like I get closer to God, like that kind of like Bob Marley thing, like where the Rastafarians, they used THC as like a something to help them commune with God. And he was he was not a good Christian. He was a Rastafarian, and they loved Jesus Christ. They just had like some kind of other savior as well, so it wasn't like a pure Christianity. But he loved Jesus, and he said it helped him talk to God. And I kind of felt the same way when I first was saved. And then God was like, no, not at all. This is the things that alter your mind like that, you need to stop. If you're altering your mind like that, it is for your own selfish thing to escape. Just like the psychedelics were, it was not good for me. And that was the second thing besides after the adult content. And I fought on that one a little bit. I pushed back. I was like, no, I need this too much. I want to do this too much. I feel like it helps me get closer to you. And he's like, nope, you're getting down and you're going to get down to a amount that you do. I do not feel stoned when I take the tiny little piece of an edible. And really, I'm to the point where I can almost stop that too. But I don't know. I've got to have something for the pain. Don't need any more. Christopher, amen. On your point, brother, everyone, please lean on Jesus. He will help you, guide you, and lead you out of whatever you're suffering through and suffering with. Yes, it doesn't seem like he will. People said that to me, and I was like, you're out of your mind. Just get out of here. I rolled my eyes, or I did at least in my head. Not physically rolling my eyes, but I felt like, oh man, it was so annoying. Just get out of my face with this. I've been suffering for 13 years. I've been through everything. I don't want to hear about how Jesus is and how like your dumb little things, and most people telling me that weren't really born again. So I saw their lives, and I saw that they were a train wreck in their life, and they were just big hypocrites. So I was like, okay, I see how you treat other people. You're not treating people with love like Jesus says to treat people with. Why would I even take your advice at all? Everybody tells me this is just virtue signaling, and most people are. I'm not telling you to virtue signal. I am telling you as someone, a witness, as a testimony. He saved my life completely. And I'm telling you all the things I still struggle with. And there are, those are the main things. I've talked about them again already tonight. It was the urge to end my own life. And he took me from rock bottom to the highest I've ever been and ever even imagined I could go, even during my happiest days. He took me from that. Despite my pain, the constant pain, like where I could barely move some days, he made me feel like the wealthiest person in the world. When I am closest to him, I feel like everything is the way it is supposed to be. Please, please do not be discouraged by the idiotic Christians who go out there beating you over the head with a Bible verse, or, just leading with their hate. Go out and talk to him. Find a personal relationship with him. Because if you are genuine, he will talk to you. He will work in your life. Let's see here. I needn't do anything, friend. No, I didn't. Absolutely. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, I guess there are some things we need to do, but I'm so far behind, so I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, brother. Christopher, you and me both. I went from the Incredible Hulk to the Incredible Bulk, brother. Yeah. Yes, I was very addicted to adult content as well, brother, and that was the first vice Christ removed from my life and delivered me from it. Yeah, that was so much worse than I ever realized. It corrupts every single relationship, whether it is a sexual relationship or not. It does. Jake, how do you fight off greed or selfishness? That is being humbled. That is absolutely being humbled. And Christ will humble you. You realize how. All right, so you're going to focus on that money, and you're going to focus on you and you alone, because everything is about us until we surrender our lives to God. Our lives to God. It is a focus. We all have faith in something, whether we call ourselves atheists, whether we call ourselves whatever. We have faith in something. We worship something. Something motivates us in life, and that is whatever consumes our thoughts and our time the most, that is our God. And if it's not actually God that you're worshiping, then it will devour you. It will. And, that was a great quote by an atheist who said that. David Foster Wallace. he gave a commencement speech in one of his books, but it's actually a commencement speech. I looked it up the other day. How we all worship something, and if that something is not God, it will eat us alive, because we worship money and we will never have enough. We worship beauty and we will always look ugly. Or we always look in the mirror and look too ugly. And we always, if we, I added on a lot of things. We worship a relationship. We will be betrayed. We will be abandoned. Something will happen. God is the only thing that is not finite. He is the true north. He is the universal constant. He is everything. And that is why you need to throw yourself at his feet and begin a personal relationship. Don't ask anyone else how you should do it, except for, I just recommend going out and being alone anywhere you're comfortable in solitude, where you can be at peace and just talk to him and just ask him to please, you're lost in life. Please show me the way. And he will, if you mean it. If you don't mean it, then it's going to take a while. Let's see here. Christopher, all cancers run in the family as well. Cancer is an evil beast. It really is. I recommend also everybody who has somebody, if you have a relative on cancer, try getting them turkey tail mushroom supplements. Just try it. Again, I watched a big YouTube video about how this grandmother came to her grandson and she had stage 4 breast cancer. And she, the doctor said it was already way too far advanced to even treat. So they just had to make her comfortable. And he started giving her those turkey tail mushrooms because he saw that the university he worked at were studying them on things like breast cancer, and it completely told the immune system how to fight the cancer off somehow. He doesn't know how still, but he said it is a miracle. I've been praying to Jesus about that too, and I've asked, is THC bad and is it a sin? And I'm still praying, but no answer yet. In my heart, I personally don't think THC is bad, and it helps so many people. Yeah, there are benefits and there are lifestyles that are only you and God know. You probably know if you're using it in a way that is taking all your motivation, is just to escape, is just this and that. If you're just taking a couple puffs, in the evening or something when your day is done to kind of take away some pain or take the edge off a little bit, then I don't think it's that. Or if you're doing it even to like kind of get the mental juices flowing or something, maybe you're a writer or an artist or something, then it's not as bad as if you're sitting there smoking all day, taking edibles like I was. It was way out of hand with me for sure. Jake, if you got a lot of money saved up and about to get married and your fiance doesn't know about it, is that a sin? It really, I mean, I don't know if it's technically a sin, but not being honest with your fiance is not a good start to a marriage, brother. It's going to be, if you're not open and honest with, maybe you should ask yourself why you're not open and honest, because I mean, maybe it's just you're worried because you'd already been through a bad relationship or marriage where somebody screwed you over, and you're just trying to keep that from happening. But if you are to the point where you truly love this woman and you think she's the one you want to spend your life with, then I would open up to her and I would tell her, hey, look, I was keeping this quiet, and I feel bad about it, but I have this money saved up, and I just want to be honest with you. And if you think she's the type of person who's going to be like, oh, okay, let's blow it on a bigger wedding or whatever, then that's already going to be a problem. It really is. Christopher, and much better than pills and other pharmaceuticals. Yeah, it is much better than pills and other pharmaceuticals for sure, brother. I I'm an actual cannabis advocate. I have always advocated for it, but for me, I was doing it too much in my life for sure. Uh, Ruby, what do you think about Adam Sandler? What a comedian! I love Adam Sandler. I love. In fact, he's one of my favorites. I used to watch Billy Madison every time I was homesick. He's one of my favorites for sure. I'm going to try to get through a couple of these. I got to get off here, guys, because my back is really hurting. So I'll read a couple more. Uh, let's see, Jake. Why do you think some people have so much love in their hearts and others none? Um, well, that's a good question. I do think that some people just they have their hearts hardened by certain things. Like for me, I've always been a loving, optimistic person until my disability, and then everything started to go downhill. And I've known and I've dated a lot of people who, like my wife. She is not that affectionate. Like she's had a life where a lot of her family were abusive alcoholics and drug addicts, and she lived in poor Appalachia growing up. So she had no running water or indoor plumbing while she was growing up, and just the circumstances that happen to people, it puts us in different places. But look, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. God will meet you where you are in the way that you need him. I was talking about this last night about how all the different ways he came to people in the Old Testament. Like Moses, he came as a burning bush. Elijah, uh, uh, or Job, he came as a whirlwind. Elijah, he came as a whisper. So Job, Job's life was spiraling, and he, that was representative of his life, the way God came to him. Elijah was running from a chaotic situation where they were trying to kill him. Jezebel was trying to kill him. And he went through all this chaos, and then he didn't see God in any of it. And then there was a calm and a whisper. And that's where he finally found God, in that whisper. And he comes to you exactly as you need him in life. It doesn't matter if you're a loving person or not. He will give you love like you've never known before. Like you never, because it's not love like we know it. It is transcending love. It is called agape love. It is the love of God, which it leads you around, right? Before you are born again, your desires and your emotions and your hopes and your dreams and the things of this world leads you around. It's all you care about. That's your experience. That's what you're going to. That is all you pursue in life. When you are born again, love leads you anywhere. And it's where God takes you to some dangerous places, some bad, hard places. But it's where you need to go, and he gives you the whatever you need to survive that and to work his good works in that situation. All right. I wasn't as far back as I thought I was today. See, I wasn't as bad. I was doing pretty good. Uh, okay. Well, let's see, Jake. Do you know anything to take for your nervous system if you've had a breakdown? Man, that is a tough one, brother. Like a nervous breakdown. Uh, Jake, I don't eat a lot of fast food. I used to eat a lot of fast food, but well, not a lot. But I mean, I used to just eat it whenever because, as I said, I didn't care. I was like, okay, I just want my life to be over. But if you've had a breakdown, it it really is something that you have to, because that can mean a lot of different things. Like I had a nervous breakdown after doing all those psychedelics, and I don't know if there was anything I could take. I guess I could have taken like something to calm me, but that would have just added on to the chaos I was already in, than being hooked on a drug to calm me down. So that is when I really do think that you need to go out into nature and seek God. Just seek Him. And yes, fast food will, and junk food and all the horrible foods that we eat will amplify it. If you start eating like, chicken and vegetables and fruits, and just meats and vegetables, cutting out like the processed meats like hot dogs and stuff, which, that's one of my problems. My kids will only eat like things like hot dogs and chicken nuggets. So that's like sometimes what I'm stuck eating. But you have to find a healthy lifestyle. Your body is a temple, and you have to cut out the substances as much as you can. Start getting sunlight. That is important. And start going out and seeking God, talking to God like you would talk to a therapist, like you would talk to your father, or like you would talk to your friend, or if you could tell your father and your friend anything, you can tell him everything. And just as I keep saying, and I know it's a broken record, throw yourself at his mercy, at his feet, and he will lift you up, and he will give you life for the first time. Jake, ego death other than shrooms. Being born again is an ego death for sure. It is, but it is beyond that, because an ego death like the with the Eastern religions and like the psychedelics and stuff. Yes, that is a breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough. Being born again is a divine breakthrough, and you are humbled. And that is what lets you love everyone. Like, I love complete strangers. I don't care if it's a homeless person. I don't care if it's a good looking woman who I used to be nervous as hell. Even if I wasn't trying to pick them up, I would be nervous as hell talking to. I don't care if it's an old man or a young a young kid. I talk to everyone, and I lead with love, because all that brokenness in me was fertile ground for God to start growing my new life, to purify me. And that brokenness, your mental breakdown and everything, you are ripe for redemption. You are. Yes, I'm telling you, Jake, go out and don't even listen to anybody who says, "Oh, if you hear voices of God, you can sound crazy." I'm not even talking about you have to hear a voice of God. Again, God talks to me through nature or through art or through dreams or through visions. But mainly for me, it is through nature. For other people, it might be through some other way, through synchronicity in life. Like you'll hear a song lyric right when you need to, when you're thinking about something, it'll tell you the answer you need to know, or you'll be thinking about like, your this friend that you haven't seen in months or years, and all of a sudden they'll call you, or you'll run into them on the street, and it's stuff like that. That is how God talks to you, and once you start recognizing it, you will see it everywhere, how he works in every aspect of your life. And it is absolutely incredible, brother. It is absolutely incredible. All right. I really do have to go. My back is singing so bad. I apologize because I can sit here and talk to you guys all night for sure, or all morning, or whatever it is where you are. It's morning here now, I guess. But please, Jake, reach out to me. Anybody else who has anything, reach out to me. Leave a comment in any of my videos. And if it's something private you want to work with, we'll start emailing. Or if you already have my email, just send me an email and tell me in a comment, because again, it goes to my junk mail for some stupid reason. And I have to get it on my laptop and not my phone. But I will work with you in whatever way I can. And I might not have all the answers, but I'll try to help you find somebody who does, or try to help work with you to figure out the answers. Uh, yeah, leave a comment on any of my videos, any of the ones that aren't live, and I will send you my email. But I gotta warn you. Sometimes when I send the email through the comment, I think YouTube like deletes it or something, because so if you don't get it right away, I will try it like I'll try to kind of like spell it out. I don't know why it's not on my main page. I put it there, I thought, but I will try to send it through the comments, and then we'll figure out a way. If it doesn't work, then you can just be like, hey, you're not sending it to me, and I'll try it a different way. So, but I will definitely get a hold of you, brother. And I love you so much. I love all of you so much. Thank you for coming. And please reach out to me. And I'm telling you, go into nature. I know it's the middle of winter and sometimes it's like way too cold, but if you possibly can get out there and start talking to him. And just, even if it's for a couple minutes a day at first, and just build and build, like it's a therapy session, like it's spending time with a loved one, or spending time with, it's the most important relationship you will ever have. So put the time and effort into it accordingly. Okay, I love you all. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.